Good morning, student. My name is Miss Manisha Borkar, Department of Fishery Science, NES Science College, Nanded. Now, today's we will going to start the B.sc second year, semester third, theory paper 6th. The name of paper is Fish Disease Management. Okay, theory paper 6th. The name of paper is Fish Disease Management. Okay, in that we will start the unit number 4th. The topic is environmental induced diseases of a fish. In that we will study the gas bubble disease, oxygen deficiency, thermal trace, then the trace due to pH variations. In a previous lecture we are studied the gas bubble disease. Now today's we will study the oxygen deficiency. Okay, seen here, firstly what is mean by the environmental induced disease of a fish. Okay, seen here that the what is mean by the environmental diseases. Okay, the majority of fish health problems are related to the environmental trace, such as the effect of handling or a poor water quality where an infectious disease is involved. This is the end result of interaction between the pathogenic organisms, a susceptible fish host, and environmental trace. Most prevalent diseases of environmental condition of fish are, okay, this fish disease or the environmental diseases which is caused due to the environmental trace or the various environmental conditions. They will where they will be involved the various infectious diseases, although means that the infectious diseases, then the pathogenic diseases which is due to the pathogenic organisms. Okay, we will see here the diseases due to the environmental conditions. First is environmental hypoxia. Is means that there is a oxygen deficiency. Second one is a gas bubble disease. Third one is ammonia poisoning, then the nitrate poisoning, then the temperature trace and trace due to the variations in a pH values. Okay, seen here the environmental hypoxia, it's called as the oxygen deficiency. Okay, in that environmental hypoxia, one of the major causes of a fish mortality. Okay, this is the most important, or the means that there is the major cause of that oxygen deficiency which cause the mortality in the fishes. Okay, as we knows that the mortality means that the death or the death rate of the fishes. Okay, due to this deficiency or due to this oxygen deficiency, fish will be die or the mortality will be occurred. In intensive aquaculture is a decrease of dissolved oxygen in a water. Okay, in the aquacultural systems, in that water level the oxygen which is a decrease their decreases their amount. Environmental hypoxia means that a low concentration of dissolved oxygen exists in the water. Oxygen is the most important water quality factor for proper fish health. Okay, as we knows that the oxygen is a very important factor to the fish health. Okay, fish will expires by the gills and they absorb the dissolved oxygen which is present in the water, and they release the carbon dioxide within the water due to the process of that the due to the process by the gills. In here oxygen is the most important water quality factor for a proper fish health. Sensitivity to low dissolved oxygen concentrations differs between species, between the various life stages, and between the processes processes feeding, growth, and reproduction, which may depend on a swimming ability and a specialized behavior, which may also be influenced by dissolved oxygen. Requirements for a fisheries must take this into account, bearing in mind the type of a fishery, the times places the fish occur, and the luckily impact on the fishery of a impairment of each part of the life cycle. Dissolved oxygen concentration is intensive fish farms is affected by three factors. Okay, in intensive fish farms, they will affect the rate of oxygen consumption by the respiration, then the rate of oxygen production through the photosynthesis, the rate of oxygen transfer through the air in a water interferences. Now, causes of environmental hypoxia. Environmental hypoxia occurs in the fish culture under the following circumstances. Okay, concentration of phytoplanktons in a fish farm, they reduce light penetration in a day that lead to reproduce production of oxygen in the lower layers of the water and consume dissolved oxygen in a night. Overcrowding of the heterotrophic organisms, that is bacteria, protozoa, fish, etc., all consume oxygen both day and night. Light is essential for a photosynthesis. Decrease the length of the day or a reduction of a light due to cloudiness may be lead to the hypoxia. Now, fourth is a high temperature. Low oxygen is common in ponds, especially in a summer. Warm temperatures lead to decrease oxygen solubility and increase the pond organisms metabolism and subsequent oxygen demand. Many chemicals that are commonly used to treat fish disease, copper sulfate, copper sulfate, pot. Permanganate for the formalin may be lead to environmental hypoxia. Wind is a or the wind is one of the most important climatic factors which affecting the transfer of dissolved oxygen through the interface. During transport of a fish, when their number in a containers which introduce is too large as compared to the supply of oxygen from the surface or from an artificial source of oxygen supply. Now, due to an intensive system of fish production in ponds, enclosures, and closed plants with recycled water at very high stocking densities and excess feeding with dry mix feed which rich in a protein in intensively cultivated ponds, oxygen deficiency occurs due to various deteriorating phenomenon caused by the biological activity of the phytoplankton. Anoxia can be result from a combination of these causes. Now, clinical signs. Okay, acute environmental hypoxia, which highly mortality, especially large fish. Common behavioral signs include lethargy and the congregating of a fish near the water interference. Fish have a pale and edematous gills. The fish swim to the water inlet and collect air. Fish are piping for the air. Now, the chronic environmental hypoxia. Chronic hypoxia does not kill fish outright but causes considerable stress at the length. 5 mg per liter of a dissolved oxygen is needed for optimal growth and reproduction of most fish. Below this, food consumption decreases and becomes less efficient and growth is slow. Now, diagnosis of the environmental hypoxia. How to diagnosis that the hypoxia. Diagnosis of hypoxia is based upon case history, then the clinical signs, measuring of dissolved oxygen in water by electronic meter or by the commercial test kit. Now, treatment and the control of the oxygen deficiency. Acute environmental hypoxia is an emergency situation and immediate step must be taken. Providing fish with oxygenated water, supplemental aeration which should begin with both pneumatic air pumps or mechanically paddle wheels. Chronic environmental hypoxia can be treated with reducing feeding, then the reducing the fish number and the control the phytoplankton. Now seen here 4 questions that can be used to predict the hypoxia. Okay, seen here the diagrammatical presentation to the 4 questions which will be occurred, how the hypoxia in fishes will be seen. First is a in a circle there is a hypoxia unluckily to occur. Okay, yes, due to our nutrients overabundant. Is there an algae bloom? Because of the are there enough zooplankton, small animals that eat algae to consume the blooms? Then the algae begin to die and sink to the bottom. Then the algae decomposition consumes the oxygen. Okay, in that hypoxia luckily no, or the here is the water well mixed. Even if there are enough zooplankton to eat the bloom, their facial palates can sink to the bottom in a poorly mixed water and consume the oxygen. Okay, as we know that the various organisms or the various zooplanktons as well as the phytoplanktons, they will be live in the water, within the water, and fish, as we know that the fish life which is in that water, which taking part in a very most important role in the fish, in that the fish. Okay, and due to these algae and the various algal blooms, due to the phytoplanktons, there will be they will disturb the oxygen level in the within the water. As we know that the fish will consume the water in the dissolved, the fish oxygen consume in the dissolved form. Okay, due to these phytoplanktons and these algae, they are having the concentration of that the oxygen will be creating the such a disease, or the oxygen deficiency will be occurred, that we call as the hypoxia in the fishes. Okay, in next lecture we will see the next disease related to the environmental induced disease. Thank you.